Hey guys, it's Allie, and welcome back to AK Animals. So Monty had a little bit of feeding trouble, and I'm going to be telling you that story. So I was going to film a feeding all my pets video, and I was going to go feed Monty. I had everything ready. I had the mouse, the tweezers, and I had a plan. And I had not fed her this way before. I was going to feed her a new way. Usually what I do is I put her in a separate container. I just feed her with the tongs. But she did go off food for a little bit. So I'm like, you know what? I'll try something new. And I put her in a round container with the lid on. Yes, she could breathe. There was air holes. And I left her there for 30 minutes with the mouse alone. That usually works. But I'm like, you know what? She's been on food for a little bit. I think I could give this new way a try. This new way is what I was going to do is I was going to feed her in her tank. I was just going to lift up her hide and give her the mouse. But what I was going to do is I have loose substrate, so like dirt basically. And it would stick to it because I thawed the mouse with water, so the mouse would be wet and it would stick to the mouse, the dirt. So my plan was I would just flip over her hide and kind of make it as a little feeding tray. I got that idea from Snake Discovery, by the way. And I'm like, okay, it's going to work out perfectly. Except I go and I flip over her hide, and she's not there. I dig in the substrate a little bit. She's not there. I go to one of her other hides. She's not there. I'm like looking and I'm looking until I finally get the idea to look behind her background. And there she is. So I spent 5 minutes searching behind the background and trying to get to her. I did get to her, and I'm like, okay, now we're just going to have a normal feeding thing. And I was slightly scared she wouldn't eat because that was kind of stressful. Might have been stressful for her. But I put her in her hide. I flipped it over. I'm like, okay, I am ready. I can do this. I hold out the mouse. She hisses at it. I'm like, oh, great. But then she gets it. She did a really good strike. And I'm kind of like, okay. And I set her down in the tray. Except then she decides to drag it all over the dirt. All over her substrate, getting dirt all over to the mouse. And then she eats it. And so basically, she has a mouth full of dirt. And I'm like, oh, great, Monty. I help her get most of it out, except I'm like, wait a second. There's dirt. She probably can't breathe. Because snakes, their glottis, or their trachea, whatever you want to call it, is in the back of their mouth. And it could have been clogged with dirt, and that's how they breathe. And I was like, oh no, what am I going to do? She probably can't breathe. And reptiles can go a long time without breathing, but I'm like, oh no, this is going to be so bad. Oh no, and I was panicking, and then I'm like, okay. So I take Monty, I put her on the floor, and I try and restrain her and get her to open her mouth. Yes, I was doing it safely. The thing is, this is easy with a ball python, which a ball python is about 10 times the size of Monty. Monty's head is the size of a penny. And I had to restrain her head and get her to open her mouth and hold it open and make sure that there was no dirt in there. So I struggled for about 10 minutes. Just, okay, Monty, please open your mouth, okay? I really need to make sure. And I did eventually get her to open her mouth. And there wasn't any dirt in there. There was a little bit, and I did get it out. But basically, yeah, that's what happened. So that's why I'm not going to feed her that way again. But that was Monty's feeding disaster. Hope you enjoyed.